Hi, welcome. This is Tom Comiskey, Outreach Senior Librarian at Plymouth Public Library. And welcome to our first ever online virtual book club. And it's called the Nook Book Club. A little bit of history about that, and also some housekeeping. This is the first time that I'm doing this using my own computer at home and uploading a video to YouTube. So it's an experiment, so please be patient. And I may have to make several short videos and upload them separately. So because I'm not sure how much bandwidth or how much memory I can do. So with that in mind, just be patient, and we will get through this, and it'll be fun. So I just want to welcome everybody, and if you haven't read this book by Michele Richardson, it's available. Of course, you can buy the book, of course. It's also available if you have a Plymouth Public Library card on the Hoopla app. And I believe it might also be available on Overdrive or Libby. But Hoopla is good because there are unlimited copies available. So please check that out if you need help with getting access to Hoopla. You can email us at the library at plref at ocln.org, and we will get back to you. Or you can email me as well. I'm at tcomiskey at ocln.org. So, as I said, this is an experiment. There'll be background noises. There'll be all kinds of things happening, but we will work on this. So, all right. The book Nook Book Club was supposed to have begun this month, and it was born out of the desire to increase people's awareness of book clubs, and also to get people involved who are at the Center for Active Living, which in Plymouth is pretty much around the corner from the public library. So the idea was, let's incorporate some walking, some movement, and then have a book discussion. So the plan, people were going to register through the Center for Active Living, and then at 1 o'clock, meet in the lobby, and then walk over, crossing Nook Road, which hence is why we named it the Nook Book Club. And then coming around to the library. It's about maybe a 25 minute walk at most. And then we would meet up in the boardroom and have some refreshments and then do our discussion. So that's how we got started with the Nook Book Club. Our first meeting was supposed to be April 21st. So anyway, so I decided that let's try to do this virtually and see how this works. So that's what we're doing today. And we'll try to break this up into a couple of meetings. The plan being that we would try to meet again next Wednesday, May 6th at 1 o'clock and kind of continue the discussion. I have contacted the author, Michele Richardson, and she's very open to doing a Zoom author talk with us. We have to see about bandwidth and whether her connection would be strong enough to do that. So stay tuned. That would be very lovely to have the author on with us at some point. So I just wanted to, take a sip of water because talking this long makes one thirsty. So I just want to go over today, this little segment. I wanted to touch on some of the themes in the book and also some of the background research. which probably went into making the book. So, and then we can throw out a few questions to have you type in below in the comments section some of your thoughts, reflections, and what you think are some of the responses. So let's look at some of the overall themes in the book Woman of Troublesome Creek. And the first theme that I want to throw out is, and these are in no order, but I want to throw out prejudice. Being judged by who we are, what we look like, how we present. Our main character, Cussie Mary Carter, as we know, had a different skin pigmentation. She presents, and like her father, a blue, which, for those who don't have the background yet in the book, was a rare recessive gene that was discovered, and it goes back to a French family that came over to Kentucky in the 1800s, and it continued to show up in various forms. And we can talk more about this later, but anyway, I had not heard about the blue people of Kentucky and Appalachia, but they did exist. There's a clip of an Oprah show back in the 90s, I believe, and she did have one of these descendants on the show. I don't know to date if any of these individuals are still with us or not, but it is quite extraordinary. So, prejudice. The other theme is equality. Okay, and we're talking about not only equality when it comes to treating everybody as an individual, but also equality in terms of resources. And in libraries, we talk about, okay, are the books and resources in the library available to a broad spectrum of the population? And how do we make all of the things we have available to everyone, including people who are shut in, people who are homebound, people who have visual impairments, people who are hearing impaired, people who are lower income, and seniors. We have children. We have working families, you name it. So equality, equity. The other theme I want to talk about is education. So we know from the book that because Troublesome Creek and the area around it is so remote, having access to proper education and education that's funded and is going to provide a decent start is not always available. Now, the teacher, we know, did a great job with what she had. I'm forgetting her name right now, but you know, education is a vital key component to a society that is going to produce individuals who are great citizens and people who can contribute to the community in so many ways, not only academically, doctors, you need teachers, you need workers, you name it. So education is so important. The other topic I want to talk about is self-reliance. And this is a big component because we know from the book that folks in the remote areas have learned to adapt. And I think I read a statistic that Back in 1936, now we're looking at maybe 20% unemployment currently with this COVID-19, but back in 36, in some remote parts of Appalachia, unemployment was at about 80%. If you can believe that, 80%. So, how did people get by? How did they survive? How did they eat? What were their dwellings like? And there's this very strong sense of self-reliance and not having to rely on others, not getting a handout, feeling as if my pride of who I am is dependent on how I can provide for myself, all of these things. The other major roles in this book, major themes, are the role of women and also how marriage is viewed. So I'm sure, we could have a whole topic, a whole session on the role of women and how women were treated, how married life was in those days in remote parts of Appalachia, what it was like to be treated as property, as marriage was seen, and unfortunately still seen by some these days, as a contract, an arrangement of property. So rights, women's rights, the role of marriage, how that plays, all major components. So I'm going to stop for right now and see how this works for a 12-minute video. And then we'll come back and talk about the background research. So in your comments, try to give us some insight as to what some of these themes meant to you, how they played out, and also what it really meant, or how the themes that we talked about can translate into today's world, into things that we are dealing with this pandemic. So we'll come back again in a few minutes. Thank you.